Welcome back. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, pause and go and watch that video here first. We covered what an EHCP actually is and walked through every section from A to K and tackled a big myth about one-to-one support that's worth learning. The link is in the description. But if you're back for part 2, brilliant, because this is where it gets practical. Today, we're talking about the 3 sections of an EHCP you need to know inside and out, your role in annual reviews, and 6 classroom strategies that make a real difference for EHCP pupils. And, honestly, for every child you teach. Let's go! Every EHCP is reviewed once a year. That's not optional, it's the law. And your voice in that review matters far more than you might realise. You are in a unique position. You see this child every single day. You see how they respond when the lesson format changes. You notice when they're having a hard week. You know when they've made a breakthrough that doesn't show up in any assessment. That kind of knowledge is irreplaceable, and no one else in the room has it the way that you do. So when the annual review comes around, yes, contribute your progress data, but go further than that. Reflect on what's worked and what hasn't. Where do they still struggle? Have any new difficulties emerged? Are there needs that still aren't being met? The annual review is your opportunity to shape the plan. You can flag when an outcome has been achieved. You can raise concerns when something isn't working. You can highlight strengths that haven't been captured anywhere else. And here's the key message. Don't wait for the annual review. If you feel a child with an EHCP isn't making progress, go to your Senko now. Not in 3 months. Now. It's your Senko's job to look at what needs may be unmet and what additional provisions might be needed, but they can only act on what they know. So tell them. Your input genuinely influences the direction a plan takes. Use that. The 3 sections that matter most. Section B. Section B tells you who this child is, their needs, their strengths, their specific difficulties across all 4 areas of need. When you're planning lessons, when you're thinking about differentiation, when you're deciding where your TA should focus, start here. Section B gives you the picture. Section E sets out the outcomes the child is working towards, typically by the end of each key stage. These are the goals the whole plan is built around. Your teaching should be actively contributing to these outcomes, not just supporting the child in general, moving them towards these specific goals. Sometimes an outcome spans more than 1 key stage. That's fine. What matters is that you know what you're working towards. Section F is the one with the legal teeth. This is the list of provisions that must be delivered. Not should, not where possible, must. It is legally binding. It's the basis on which the school receives additional funding. And some of those provisions, they happen in your classroom. Read section F. Know what it says, because part of the responsibility for delivering it sits with you. 6 strategies that work for everyone. Here's something powerful. Many of the strategies that appear in section F as specialist provisions for EHCP pupils are brilliant for every child in your class. So let's look at 6 you can embed right now. Number 1, movement breaks. Mid-lesson physical activity, standing up, a true or false quiz, a quick stretch, re-engages the whole class. Nobody can concentrate without a break. This isn't soft, this is neuroscience. Use it. Number 2, chunking tasks. Break every task into smaller, clearly sequenced steps. Essential for pupils with ASC or ADHD, but it helps every learner understand what's expected of them and in what order. Reduces anxiety, increases task completion, makes your expectations visible. Number 3, writing frames. Provide a model of what strong work looks like before pupils start. It's especially powerful for pupils with SEN, but generally, every child benefits from knowing what good looks like before they put pen to paper. Number 4, pre-teaching vocabulary. Before you begin a new topic, explicitly introduce and teach the key words for EHCP pupils. This is often a listed provision, but if you do it whole class. You remove the need to take that child out separately. You meet the provision and you keep them in the room. That's inclusive practice at its best. Number 5, structured routines. Consistent, predictable classroom procedures make a significant difference for autistic pupils. How the lesson starts, how you signal for attention, and how transitions happen. But these routines create a calm, focused environment for everyone. Structure isn't a restriction, it's the foundation for real learning. Number 6, check-ins. Regularly checking in with individuals. A quiet word, a subtle thumbs up, a brief question helps you catch who's struggling before it becomes a problem. It's also a discreet way to spot when someone is dysregulated and needs a moment, without drawing attention to them in front of the class. As pupils get older and more self-conscious, this becomes even more important. Small adaptations, massive impact. And most of them cost absolutely nothing. Working effectively with your TA. Let's talk about TAs, because this relationship is one of the most important dynamics in your classroom, and it's not always as effective as it could be. First, a TA is not an automatic add-on for every EHCP pupil. The funding doesn't cover a TA in every lesson, and in many cases, one isn't needed to meet the provisions. What matters is purposeful deployment for a TA to have maximum impact. They need 4 things from you. First, know the content before the lesson starts. A TA cannot fully support pupils if they're learning the material at the same time. Brief them. Even a 2-minute conversation before class makes a real difference. Second, know your lesson objective. What are you trying to achieve this lesson? What does success look like? Give your TA a clear focus. Third, be directed by you on where they're needed most. That might be with the EHCP pupil, or it might be supporting a different group while you work with them. You are the teacher. You make that call. Fourth, and this is crucial, the TA should be promoting independence, not dependence. The goal is always to help the child become more capable, more confident, more self-sufficient over time. A child who always has an adult next to them never learns to manage without one. That's not support, that's a ceiling. A strong, well-briefed TA relationship benefits every child in your classroom, not just those on the EHCP register. So, to wrap up, an EHCP is a legally binding document. It outlines needs, outcomes, and provisions. When a school says it can meet those needs, it is bound to deliver them. As a teacher, you are not peripheral to that commitment. You are central to it. Know your EHCP children. Read sections B, E, and F. Embed inclusive strategies in your everyday teaching. Communicate with your SENCO regularly, contribute meaningfully to reviews, and raise concerns early. EHCPs exist because some children need more, and with the right people around them, including you, they can genuinely thrive. If this little series has been useful, please share it with a colleague and subscribe to the Excell Connect YouTube channel for more content like this. Safeguarding guides, classroom strategies, NQT support, all free and all from people who work in education every day. And if you're a teacher or TA looking for your next role in North Wales, Chester, the Wirral or Shropshire, we'd love to work with you. Head to excell-supply.com or click the link in the description. We'll see you on the next one.